Ashland. Before we start, I just want to give a shout out to a couple people in Northland College. Got a lot of Northland students here. We also did some sign making at Northland, and they lent us megaphones. That was great. Also, the Citizens Climate Lobby and the League of Women Voters are here tonight. So is Fridays for Future Ashland. That's me and a small group of high school students and middle school students as well who have been doing weekly strikes every Friday. We've got info on them over that table as well as some petitions. And we've also got some postcards over there for you to send to our legislators and tell them what you think about this issue. So we hope you sign some of those. All right. I'm here today because I'm scared. I'm scared for my future and the future of my friends and my family. We are in a crisis. The Amazon rainforest is burning. Our oceans are full of plastic pollution. Mines, CAFOs, and oil pipelines threaten to pollute our water. And the IPCC reports that we have just 11 years to act before the damage we've caused to our climate becomes irreversible. That's why people in over 150 countries around the world are coming out today to call for action. Tonight, you'll hear from 10 different speakers and musicians who shed light on issues of environmentalism, justice, and resilience. First up, we have Jean Hopman-Whipple, a Northland grad working as an AmeriCorps farm-to-school member at the Bayfield School District. Where's Jean?
How's everyone doing tonight? Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming to strike for climate justice today, for striking for climate justice in a society that has gotten too comfortable to act. Yet I believe that here in the Chequamegon Bay, our community is a little bit different. We live in a special place. Local food is abundant. Chequamegon is here and is beloved. Our community spaces are beloved. This is a special place, and many of our lives and works are dedicated in some way to building a better future. Farming, crafting, teaching, caregiving, each of us gives a small part of ourselves to this community. And yet, we are in danger of being unprepared for a future that climate chaos presents us. And an unprepared community is vulnerable to becoming xenophobic and fearful. To protect this place and to continue living by our values, we must think far ahead, 10 years in the future, 50 years, 100 years into the future, and what this place will become, to become a resilient community. And how do we create resiliency every single day? We create resiliency through our daily work, through whatever it is that calls us, that we dedicate our lives to. Beyond taking political action like marching, like signing signatures, we must bring this to our everyday lives. We must live the livelihood of resiliency, making a life's work of making spaces for climate refugees and marginalized communities or of soothing the pain of food deserts, or of teaching ancient crafting skills. These and so many more are the livelihoods of our time. And most of all, the livelihood of helping healing our broken food systems. Who here is a farmer? Who's here is in food systems? Raise your hand, play some ukuleles. Give our farmers, our teachers, a round of applause, everyone. For a year, I taught children at Bayfield School about their farms and their foods, and I learned two things. First of all, cooking is play, eating is play, growing and gardening is play. And secondly, that it's hard to teach children about nutritious, healthy food when they don't have access to that food themselves.
Yeah.
We live in a paradise of local foods, and yet those living in Red Cliff, Bad River, Bayfield, they have to get into their cars and drive to get food that they can afford. That turns food from a great joy into a chore. So what can our livelihoods do to solve this problem? This piece of the climate chaos crisis? What can we imagine to create a better community that we can take to fruition ourselves? We must imagine novel solutions to the problems that are presented to us. For the dilemma of a food desert, we can imagine so much. Maybe a farm is a community center or a community kitchen. Maybe a farm is a community's third place, a place to go and hang out away from home or work. Maybe the solution is a new kind of store that travels between these communities, or small decentralized gardens everywhere. Here, there, in your lawn, in my lawn.
Yeah.
Woo! Whatever we create, these are everyday solutions that we imagine ourselves and can implement without the help of the federal government or corporations, which we cannot depend upon anymore. These are on-the-ground solutions that build our food system into a resilient community ahead of the wave of climate chaos. And for every 100 that we can imagine, maybe just one comes to fruition. Unfortunately, there are ways to seek help and funding for the ideas that we have. One I'd like to tell you about is a new grant program currently going through the Wisconsin State Legislature called Agriculture Supported Community Development. This program would support projects that use agriculture to solve on-the-ground issues in our communities. And that's about what I can tell you about it because it's in the very, very early stages. Meetings are happening, so keep your ears open for that. Hopefully it'll come through in the 2020 session. But we have to imagine a novel future, a holistic future, one in which the Chequamegon Bay is resilient and welcoming and strong because of the efforts and projects that we start here today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. As we all know, the people who are going to be most affected by the climate crisis are going to be our youth. And that's why I'm going to invite up onto the stage Harper Hollis Heidenreich. School in Ashland. And I'm just going to ask her a couple questions about our topics today. So Harper, first, can you just tell me, how does, when we're talking about climate change and the climate crisis, really, how does that make you feel?
Angry because we could be doing so much more than what we are doing.
And what do you think we should be doing?
We should be trying to make the companies that make climate change so much worse actually want to stop.
Thank you, Harper. Let's give her one more round of applause. All right. Next, I'm going to invite up Oleana Jurwitz, who is also a sixth grader. Did I get that right? Sixth grader at Ashland Middle School.
Okay. With the problem of CO2 being trapped in the atmosphere, it creates warmer climates for many places. If this keeps warming up, the Arctic ices will start to melt, creating ocean levels to rise up dramatically. If this keeps happening, land and islands around the world will become flooded, thus creating refugees that need somewhere to stay. That would create a problem for many places that have not been flooded. While our lives are changing, the lives of many animals will be changing as well. That will cause many animals to go extinct. The world is not just warming, it is creating more severe weather. If this keeps happening, we will have many dangerous windstorms, blizzards, and flash floods. This will and is already happening around the world.
Speaker is Molly McGregor, who is a junior at Washburn High School.
Today seems to be all about the dangers of our time. And while yes, this is true, I also believe today is an ode to how lucky we are as well. Our planet is facing a crippling crisis that is threatening every corner of Earth, and we have ignored it for too long. As Sigurd Olson says, humans have become a geologic force. But now, more so than ever, youth voices have become a social force. Every person has the power to effect change, but because people don't expect youth to care, they are more apt to listen when we do speak up. And while it takes every person on this earth to solve this crisis, the younger generations are going to be here the longest, so our voices should be the loudest. The world is quite literally in our hands, and we have 11 years, so let's fix this.
Thank you, Molly. Next up, I'm going to welcome Destiny Bell, who is a junior at the Lake Superior High School, which is the Charters High School in Ashland.
Hi everybody, I'm Destiny Bell. I'm just an average kid who has no idea what I want to do after high school. But that's all changing now, because our Earth is in a serious crisis, and there's very little that people are doing to help. They say to dream big, and that we have our whole lives ahead of us. But those are just phrases. Those aren't promises, and if they were, well then they are being broken. All of them are, right now, and there's nobody who's protecting those promises. Who's willing to stand up for the earth and for our futures, except for ourselves? We are the future, and in order to have that, we need to make some serious changes in the world. Because every day there is more pollutants being released, more fossil fuels being burned, and millions of other toxic things happening as I speak. But who's going to make all that stop? Who's going to defend our lives and make sure that we don't have to worry about our dear planet being gone in little over a decade? Everything that we do now has an impact on our future, and we have to stand up and do something before it's too late. I wrote that this morning And it didn't even take that long. And that's how much I care about this planet, is I can come up with something off the top of my head. I may be only 16 and in my junior year of high school, but I know that my heart is willing to save this planet more than some corporate who's only concerned about money and who's probably 80 years old. I know that their only concern is the money. Their only concern is to make profits. But that is not what living is all about. Living shouldn't be about money. It should be about love and happiness, and to be able to enjoy life as long as we have it. Life is so very short, and most people don't even understand that. They think that we are only here to have some fun times, have a job and get money to be able to support ourselves and our families. Yes, those are things that would help us. But what helps us the most right now is to be able to stand up for what we believe in, and that is to protect our dear earth. The thing that means the most to us, what we are standing on right now. The thing that is keeping us alive. And they don't see that. They don't see how much this is important. To not only just a few hundred countries. This is important to the whole world, because this is our world. This is the thing that means the most to us, and it should. Not some green paper that we flaunt around just to be able to have it.
High school, and I'm good. So Donovan, I want to get your perspective on the same questions I asked our youngest speaker, Harper. So when we're talking about the climate crisis, how does that make you feel?
Well, both scared. 11 years to my life left, and 4 years like that gone. Who knows how fast the next 11 are going to go? It's terrifying to think about.
And what would you like to see done about it?
Actually something done, instead of people sitting there trading bills, making newer phones in for what? For money? What's the point if their companies are just going to end up in oceans of water anyway?
Yeah. Thank you, Donovan. All right, next up we have Aiden Riley, who is a staff member at the Burke Center at Northland College, and he's here to speak about an upcoming event there.
Hello everyone, my name is Aiden Riley. I am a Communications and Policy Research Assistant at the Mary Griggs Burke Center for Freshwater Innovation on Northland College campus. And I'm so excited to see you all out here today, because you encourage me that this is something that we can all do, right? Make a change and affect climate change in a positive way, which is why I'm going to talk to you about this. This is the IJC, the International Joint Commission, and on Wednesday, the 25th at 7 p.m., they're going to be in the Albert Theater on Northland College campus, soliciting public comments from people just like you about your water quality concerns. As you know, Ashland and the Chequamegon Bay area have faced water quality issues in the very recent past. And this is your opportunity to speak to a binational organization that makes direct recommendations to governments. So take this opportunity and speak on September 25th at 7 p.m. in the Albert Theater. Thank you. If you want more information, let us know. Go to Facebook, etc.
Thank you, Aiden. All right, next up we have Amanda Fish, who is the Director of Sustainability at the Northland College Student Association. Attic's a fifth. That's fine. Yeah, so my name's Amanda. I'm a senior right now at Northland College. This is my last semester, so yeah. As you can probably imagine, I'm thinking a lot about what I want to do next year. So to give you a little background, I'm a geology student. I grew up on the East Coast, and my idea of a future was definitely to be a big scientist. Really interested in volcanoes, wanted to be a volcanologist, and now I'm kind of thinking about a different career, maybe activist. I think that's what my background's going to be a little bit better for right now. Yeah, I guess I've just been thinking about things that I've learned over the 4 years in my college career. Is 2 years ago I got to go to Washington, D.C. for the climate strike, and it was a really powerful experience, and I knew I would get really emotional kind of seeing the differences between that type of strike and the one that we have here. And I think the main thing is community. I got really amped up in DC, and I realized how many different types of people can all come together for the same thing, and that made me feel so much better that it's not just people that are exactly like me. It's so many people. It's everyone. This affects everyone. I think the main thing that you can get away from being in these small communities, and especially being a college student in one of these small communities, is that support that you get from people. You know, you don't have to be an activist to make a lot of change. You can just start with learning. I think that's the biggest thing is a lot of times you just need to sit and listen and figure out what's the best way that you can make change, because it's not going to be the same for everyone. You know, a lot of people walked and biked here, and I'm recovering from a broken foot, so I had to drive. And I know that really hit me hard that I was using fossil fuels to get here, but sometimes you got to do that, and I can mitigate my footprint in different ways, and so that's kind of something that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I guess the main thing that I was thinking about while I was walking here was I think activism is a little bit more important than science right now, and that's a little unfortunate, but I'm really amped to do that. So thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I'm sorry about your name. This is just a reminder to all of us that we should live in the real world, not just on Facebook. All right, next we have Denise Swartley, who's a Northland student studying sustainable community development. And I graduated but didn't update my Facebook yet. Hi everybody, thank you for being here today. So you all look lovely sitting in your nice little rows and down, but I'm going to ask everybody to get a little bit uncomfortable and stand up and mingle around and move more than 10 steps if you're able. If you're not able, let's have some people move to those who are sitting. And just take a minute to look around and be present with each other. So seriously, everybody get up and mingle and come closer. Take a deep breath, hug a friend, wink at a neighbor, and share names with someone you might not know.
Rico, hi, I'm Shazam. Cool. Which is the service? And you're running at 56. Any administrators here?
Hey, thank you. And everybody just stay standing and close to each other. No one says that's fine. Just stay closer. So I'll do something else in a second. So 4,638 is the number of climate strikes happening around the world today in 139 countries. Movement, do you feel the power located within us all? Do you feel joyful when we come together? How do you feel right now? Are you energized by each other and ready to act? Are you consumed with grief for the 200 species that are vanishing from the earth each day? Do
Do you feel vulnerable to the collapse occurring around us? Do you feel responsibility? Are you angry? Scared? I am. So take a moment to feel everything that you are feeling at this time. Now turn to your neighbor, or a stranger, or a new acquaintance, and ask them how they are feeling. And give them another hug if they need another hug. Okay, thank you. I usually keep on doing this as we depart as well and after the speakers and go check on the booths and everything too. So it's easy to feel isolated, alone, and fearful as we confront the reality of this climate crisis. It is easy to lose sight of the power we collectively hold when so much of our uncertain future will be determined by the decisions and actions of our economic and political systems. It is difficult to remain joyful and connected while engaged with the knowledge of the suffering occurring around us. Connecting with each other, tending to our needs, and allowing ourselves to feel our grief, our despair, and our fear is a critical part of how we move forward together. A global strike's power lies in local communities connecting with each other to discuss what climate action means to us in this place with each other. It is our task to ask ourselves and our communities, how do we want to respond and where is our power located? What do we value and what are we here to protect? What are we here to build with each other? Adrienne Marie Brown, who is also Lil Reed, who writes Emergent Strategy and Pleasure Activism and the true visionary of our time, she asked us to shift from mile-wide movements to mile-deep movements, to focus on building critical connections over critical mass. Because while we know we need all of us, all over the world, to fight for justice, democracy, and peace as we live through this climate crisis, we know that our power is located in community, in place, and in deep and meaningful connection to the world around us. For some of us here today, climate action means dedicating our time to policy change, political advocacy, and green solutions. For others, climate action looks like waking up each morning to dig our hands into the ground, to feed our neighbors, regenerate soil, and reconnect to land. Your climate action may entail education and outreach, natural disaster relief, protecting the rights of asylum seekers, fighting for fair elections, democratic processes.
All that, yeah.
So what all does climate action entail if we are honest with the reality that regardless of how carbon is released into the atmosphere in the next 5, 10, 50 years, we are still in the midst of collapse? How do we prepare for impending catastrophes and increased chaos while not giving up on making the changes needed today to prevent the worst of our dystopian fears from becoming a reality? Our world is rapidly unchanging, our ecological, economic, and political systems are unfolding. At this time, how do we utilize our collective power to shape the changes we may or may not be able to control to ensure that regardless of what comes, we will live in a world with functioning communities and democracies that are founded on the values that we collectively hold? It is no easy task to confront these questions that I alone have no answer to. I do not expect our community to have all the solutions we need to prevent collapse or survive the years ahead of us. How could we? But I ask that you join me in believing that we are most resilient as a community when we are connected to each other and committed to pursuing the most just and equitable outcomes we believe to be possible. Our power is rooted in the strength and inclusivity of our relational bonds. It is crucial that we respond to this crisis by coming together to find joy and meaning amidst grief and fear, to care for our collective needs, and to grow our capacity to embody the just and liberated worlds we long for. Thank you again for being here today in community with each other.
Thank you so much. And again, I'm sorry about the Facebook confusion, so I'm learning lessons today. Oh my gosh. So next, I'm going to welcome up Stella Banowitz, who's a senior at Lake Superior High School, the charter school in Ashland. Hey everyone. So as Ella said, my name is Stella Banowitz. For those of you that don't know me, I haven't always been the kind of person to stand in front of a bunch of people and speak about my passions. As a matter of fact, before I spent a semester at Concert School, I probably wouldn't be in the place I am right now. Before, I was angry about the state of the world and felt helpless because while I had a lot to say, I did not have the confidence or the courage to say it. One of the many things I took away from Conserve is that my voice matters, and that while there is power in being angry, there is greater power in having hope. This hope and bravery that I found is the essence of what drives my work with climate activism. The bravery part is at the center of what drives social change and something that makes our generation different. It's the source of our strength. It's what makes us look at an issue as immense as climate change and decide that we're going to take it on despite all the odds that are against us. We need to be the leaders of this movement because, quite frankly, the people in Washington who should be leading us are not doing their job. It's easier to deny the existence of the problem and criticize the people who have created us to demand action. We are the generation that is taking on this challenge, and that is something that our political leaders can never take away from us. We will not hide from this daunting task. All it takes is each and every one of us believing in our power to start change. That's all it takes. I want to leave you with this. If you have something to say it. Despite what others may think, even if it's not perfect, even if you're terrified, speak from your heart. If literally getting up in front of a bunch of people isn't your thing, then find your niche. There are so many different ways to change the world. All it takes is having the courage inside to stand up and fight. This movement is made up of millions of people deciding that today they are going to be brave. It's what gives us the advantage and why we will be the generation that changes the world. Thank you for being part of this movement. And I'd also like to thank my teachers at OPS and my parents and all of my amazing friends that are over there for supporting me in doing this. Thank you. Thank you, Stella. Next, we have Catherine Jenkins, who's the Youth Outreach Educator at the Sigurd Olson Environmental Institute. Hi, it's good to see you all. I just asked Ella if I could just have a moment here. In short, I'm in a new position as Youth Outreach Educator at the SOEI at Northland College, and I have this, for me, distinct opportunity to create a program or create programs. In the last few years, I've been working at the Ashland School District as a restorative justice coach and consultant, and as I sit with students of all ages, I hear their concerns for the world. I hear that they feel paralyzed. I hear that they feel scared, and I also hear that hope that Stella is talking about. And so I have this opportunity to create a Chequamegon Bay Environmental Youth Council. This is for students of all ages. On this little flyer, it says grades 7 through 12. But if you are youth, if you are a parent or a grandparent of a child or a grandchild who is confused on how to act, on what to do, send them to me on October 12th. I'm going to facilitate a process, and I have opportunity and staff and resources to help kids continue to express in the way that they are, that they're finding out how they can do already. So thank you. Next, thank you, Ms. Catherine for sharing that. And next we have Zach Hartliv, as well as a few others who are going to perform a song for us. And at this time, I would ask that... I'm sorry if I peek at the lyrics every now and then. I've been working on it. I am resilient. I trust the movement. I negate the chaos. Uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen. Whoa, 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 whoa. These times are poignant. The winds have shifted. It's all we can do to stay uplifted. Pipelines in backyards, wolves howling out front. Yeah, I got my crew, but the truth is what I want. Realigned and on point, power to the peaceful, praise to the water, women in the center, all vessels open to give and receive. Let's bring the system right down to its knees. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm made of thunder, I'm made of lightning, I'm made of dirt, yeah, all of the fine things. My father taught me that I'm a speck of dust and this world was made for me, so let's go and try our luck. I got my roots down, 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 deep. I got my roots down, 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 deep. I got my roots down deep. So what are we doing here? What has been done? What are you gonna do about it when the world comes undone? My voice feels tiny, I'm sure so does yours. But put them all together, we can make a mighty roar. I am resilient, I trust the movement. I negate the chaos, uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen. Thank you, B. B is a senior at Ashland High School this year. All right, let's give one more round of applause to all of our speakers and musicians. Thank you. Before we end tonight, I'm just going to give a couple more shout-outs. Jeremy Oswald, our photographer. And a really big shout-out to the Youth Climate Action Team. The Youth Climate Action Team, or YCAT as the acronym is a Madison-based youth-led organization whose mission is to provide resources, training, funding to youth climate activists around the state, as well as organize events like this one. So I'm one of them, and they resourced this strike. So thanks to them. And one more reminder to just go out and check out those booths we have right there. We have a place where you can mail postcards. Just write your message on there and we'll send them out to our senators as well as Governor Eber. We have the Citizens Climate Lobby and the League of Women Voters. And we have a table over there with information on the Fridays for Future weekly strikes, which are like outside of City Hall every Friday from 12:45 to 1:45, as well as some petitions that are asking both our county boards as well as Governor Evers to declare a climate emergency.
Yes.
So we really want to build on the momentum of this strike, and we're going to do that by hosting a sort of follow-up planning action meeting, and it's going to be next week, so Friday the 27th at the Washburn Library in the basement there, and it's just for networking, for planning, to figure out what our next steps are, with the possible goal of forming some sort of like climate action organization for the Chequamegon Bay region. And I'll bring pizza. All right.
What time?
Oh, 5:30. 5:30, September 27th. It's on Facebook if you look it up. Otherwise, you can talk to me, or I'll put it on a